Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our quick publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Euro Incision podcast. Joining me on this podcast, it's Guy Drinkel. Guy, how are you?
Much better compared to where I was after the weekend. So it always helps when maybe just got to play better teams. That seems to be the way this season. The better the team, the better the Liverpool.
It seems to be a trend, doesn't it? Let's hope they kind of consider Spurs a big team over the weekend. That would be great. I've not really been enjoying hosting the post-match show. Mustn't be great for you producing and editing on the raw side of things as well. But here we are. We're talking about the Reds in Europe and the Reds, let's go there first, beating the informed team in Europe. Let's talk about this one. I mean, let's start from the beginning. Lineup. What did you make of the lineup? Because again, I think there was probably a little bit of premature fume about, the likes of Jones being entered there and James Milner there making the starting lineup as well. I mean, what did you make? And also, noticeably, it looked like a 4-3-3 as well. So, Your thoughts?
I wanted it weaker.
I could not see us scoring 4 goals. Yeah. Carry on.
I was all for Adrian in midfield over Thiago and all that jazz. It was weird because I think I was doing scouted instead of Dave because Dave made some sort of excuse. And Klopp's press conference was coming out as we were doing that, and he was talking about how we will go strong because, well, we're not just going to play random kids against the best team in Europe at the minute because that would kind of be bullying. So it didn't really surprise me. Maybe Thiago playing because we all know he doesn't really have like bones and muscles and stuff. It's just a ticking time bomb of injuries. So maybe I was expecting maybe a Basetic if you wanted to play one young player, but obviously with Henderson not being there, we didn't have loads of options in midfield, which has always been the issue all season. So maybe he just had to play. Jones was an interesting one because, I mean, even the UEFA website's got it listed as a diamond with Jones as the 10, but he clearly played left wing, which it's weird. I'm sure we'll talk about Jones because he's probably one of the more interesting takeaways from it. It's like him, Jones, Carvalho, Elliott and Carvalho are like weird. They're almost like positionalists in our ideal system, aren't they? So it was interesting seeing him almost go back to where he played as the under-23 player that he was. So that's probably the most interesting thing, but I wasn't really surprised by the strength of the team. And Milner back in midfield. Redemption arc, because I think the last time he played in midfield was the Napoli battering. So, so redemption arc for Milner, but no, not too many surprises.
Of course, and Chimikas came in as well. I was like you as well. I mean, I was like, you know what, I can't, after what, I mean, I was absolutely disgusted after the Leeds game. I think many people were, and I was just like, you know what, I can't afford injuries. Look at me thinking I'm Jurgen Klopp, I can't afford injuries, and I'd rather just play the kids. I mean, I'd rather the kids get hammered than the adults. Just to make it worse for them, and also it's less humiliation. But then on the flip side, I could see where Klopp was coming from, because obviously Liverpool are under the microscope, and those players, those senior players, needed to go out and deliver a performance and a response, right? So. And it'll move forward for hopefully the Spurs game. But yes, let's kind of get into this, and we'll go there. You spoke about Jones, so let's talk about him, because obviously, again, he was somebody that I was really watching with a lot of intrigue, because he did come on against Leeds, and it's really hard to kind of nail down, like that kind of performance, or when you're already a bit disappointed, to kind of really focus on the play. I think he start? Yeah, he started against Nottingham Forest, didn't he? And again, I think the whole team was a bit diabolical in that one. But against Napoli, I mean, talk to me about him, because I felt that he started growing into the game.
He certainly did. I think it's probably his best performance of the season without setting the world alight. I think that's probably the best way to do it. I think God, it doesn't sound harsh. It's just competent. I think that was it. That was probably a competent performance from him. I think if you're giving it a mark out of 10, maybe 6 or 7, it was just. I think that's what's been missing from Jones's game. It's always like he's just overly quiet. Like he'll keep the ball well, but then you'll just realise, why didn't you pass the ball 20 seconds earlier in most cases? Obviously that happened in this game, but it was in higher areas of the pitch, so it's much more impactful passing that he does. Obviously the more chance, which was just offside and stuff like that, had a chance himself in the first few minutes. But it was nice seeing him play higher up, because I think that suits him better. Whereas Klopp's little weird mission of turning him into Gini Wijnaldum is just strange to me, because he never looks comfortable in that position. And I think he's 22. I think he's turned 22 in the new year. So it's not exactly like he's a 18-year-old breaking through anymore. He should be. If you're 22 and you're not really a starter, you're probably best looking to move on. So yeah, it's a strange one with him, but I think this is a really promising performance in terms of if he can step up from this position, it's really promising. But if this is his max, then that'd be an issue. But if we see more of him in the left wing and then he can drift inside and pick up the number 10 roles, Coutinho-esque, if we want a throwback player, maybe that is the best role for him, because him playing as the defensive 8, it just never really suited him, other than him being quite press resistant. Because it's not like his passing from deep's not exactly like Thiago. But in this game, yeah, as I said, probably a 6 or 7 out of 10. But I think he kind of needs that to grow into it, because he's had a very weird few years with the eye injury that kept him out for about 8 weeks or something like that, and then a fractured tibia or something from growing pains or something like that. It's the most Liverpool thing I've ever heard in my life.
Ear infections and everything. Yeah,
Yes.
it all kicks off at Liverpool and the injuries. No, very interesting what you just kind of mentioned there about Jones. You're kind of saying that, he could maybe, play from the left, which he did. And of course, he grew into the game. I think he had a shot early on in the first half as well. He had a chance on goal. I'm just really, like you said, his age and stuff, and like you kind of mentioned then, I just kind of feel like a player that's already kind of, I don't know, I feel like what you've described there is probably what I am envisaging Carvalho to be, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah.
So
but he's a bit younger as well. So.
And he's a bit younger as well. I mean, the positives I take from Jones, and is the simple fact that he did it against, or he put in that kind of performance against a good Napoli side. But you know what, before we kind of start praising Liverpool, I mean, when you were watching that game, Guy, be real with me, because Napoli, the informed team in Europe, absolutely hammering everyone 4-0. I mean, I think they won 4-0 over the weekend against Sassuolo before they came into this game against us. I felt like, as everyone, and we should be proud of the Liverpool performance, but I've got to be a realist and say Napoli didn't really try as hard as what they could.
They did seem to have one eye on the weekend, because I think they play Atalanta.
Yeah, they do.
Second in the Serie A, for the people who didn't know. Yeah, maybe just a smidge lack of intensity, but it was weird, because I think Osimhen tried his hardest, because him and the two centre-backs had a good duel. I don't remember Politano touching the ball.
Oh, Simicast just pocketed him, didn't he?
Really did.
Yeah.
It was strange, because I think everyone was almost perversely looking forward to seeing Kvaratskhelia.
Yes.
But I think he skinned Trent once, and then he had that weird back post volley where Trent just fancied buggering off to the other half of the box. But he was kind of quiet, but it was like they didn't really get him the ball enough. So maybe they just went, we're top. They're not going to beat us 4-0, and just kind of just put a ball over. When did we score? What minute did we score? We scored in the 85th. So I think we upped it a bit by the 70-odd minute, didn't we? So maybe for 70-odd minutes, it's just like, we'll see what happens. It was quite an evenly contested game without either team being overly intense, I thought. So yeah, maybe they just kind of accepted it. rested a few people like Zielinski,
Mm.
Raspadori or Lozano. Obviously missing a couple at centre back as well. But yeah, they just probably wanted to keep it ticking along because obviously if they beat Atalanta, I think they're a good few points clear in Serie A then.
I think it's 8 or something. Yeah, it makes it, it gives them a very, very comfortable lead. Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I don't think they, bought their A game, and I completely get it. I think it would have been very, very interesting though had Liverpool got an early couple of goals.
Yeah.
Then I would have really liked it. I think then it would have been a very, very interesting encounter to see what Spalletti's response would have been. But you spoke about Kvaratskhelia there, so talk to me about Trent, because I remember the Napoli game, and I think we all do. That boy gave us nightmares. We already kind of were expecting some goodness from him, and but let's talk about Trent, because what did you make of Trent's performance?
Almost boring, quite disciplined.
Which is good.
Yeah, it's just the opposite of what he's been most of the season.
Which I think he needed to, because
yes.
I think he knew he had his hands full with, what's his face, Kvaratskhelia.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was strange because I think the way we played, I think Trent obviously can still pass from deep and stuff like that, and we've seen it. We've seen it recently. I think the left back had a lot more freedom.
Yes, he did.
To get forward, and I think we've seen that in recent weeks. And I think it maybe just is Trent. You can't play right back, right midfield, right centre midfield, and striker like he was doing in the early parts of the season. So now, especially against a player like Kvaratskhelia, you just sit back. You can go forward if we are literally in a very dominant position. But your passing from deep is the key. And we saw that a couple of times. It's not like he was whipping in crosses every 5 minutes that we saw in other games. But he got done once defensively, and I think that was about it. Other than losing the flight of the ball or losing Kvaratskhelia at the back post for a weak volley, I think he was basically spot on defensively.
Yes.
I think by extension we have to add Konate into this.
Yeah, so he was my next go-to.
Yes.
It gives you a lot of confidence having Konate, and how big of a positive news is that for Jurgen Klopp to have him back, because no disrespect to Gomez, but he's been a bit off it in terms of the concentration.
Yeah, he absolutely has. It's weird with Gomez because I think everyone just thinks back 18, 19, he was so good. But since all the injuries, because there's probably been 3 or 4 big injuries since then, it's just not the same, is he? And then you look at Konate, he's about 8 foot tall, 9 foot wide, fast as Gomez, if not faster, goes on Joel Matip adventures. It's like...
Yes, he did.
We literally bought the blueprint Liverpool centre-back, and yeah, it's just scary that the potential difference he can make, because I think quite a lot of people came into the season expecting Matip to be the first choice. Obviously, Konate got injured in that stupid friendly after the Community Shield, didn't he? And it was just like, Matip's good, but Konate, you seen all the praise for Saliba and stuff like that in the league. It's just like, Konate was our best player by a mile in a Champions League final against the Ballon d'Or winner. And it's like, this lad's not getting spoke about enough generally. And I think if he stays fit and gets a run of games, people will start forgetting Saliba's... I'm trying to think of... I was going to say Ben Whiteley, he's bloody right back nowadays. But he will become the best young centre-back in the world. I have no doubt in my mind. It's just injuries and, well, the Liverpool curse of injuries added to his injury problems. That'll keep it from him. But he has literally all the makings of being the next generational centre-back.
I have to agree with you. He just was he's so big, domineering, his presence. Also Virgil van Dijk, I seem to think that they have a really, really nice partnership. It's mad with Virgil van Dijk, because I think Virgil van Dijk actually has really good chemistry with all 3 of them, which again is a sign of a truly elite world-class defender, right? The fact that, be it Gomez, be it Matip, or be it Konate, he seems to play really well with all of them, when Virgil van Dijk is, of course, playing Virgil van Dijk levels, because again, some of his performances have been a little questionable this season, it's worth noting. But yes, I was actually very, really impressed with the defence. I thought, they were They were assured, they were strong, held the line really well. It was good to see, key players performing to, their levels and their credentials, because I think that is one thing that they haven't been doing all season. So I'm going to move somewhere else now. As you can tell, this pod is a little bit everywhere. When we saw the lineup and we saw Mo Salah out wide, talk to me about that one, because I was a little bit concerned, but I felt like he was cutting in a fair bit.
It was almost like we did what's been working for about 5 years.
Yes.
It's weird that. No, I think once you saw the 4-3-3, it was like, is he going to be playing assistant referee again?
Yes.
And he simply just.
It's mad how we have that anxiety this season, because we never had it last season.
We've just never done it before, have we?
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's just strange. Like, everyone's saying it's Pep Linda's idea to put him wider and stuff like that, and whether it's his idea, Klopp's idea, the kit man's idea, they need to shut up.
We can all agree it's a bad idea.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So someone write a book about not playing Mo Salah as a winger.
Yeah.
If you play him in that, oh god, I'm gonna go all under pressure. If you play him in that right half space or their left half space, that's where he's king. That's where he's picked up all these millions of goals that he scored for Liverpool. And if you play him in that area, that's where he will hurt teams. And to be fair, he created a few chances. He didn't really have many chances himself, other than that offside Jones pass one, until the headed scrambly good box goals. But he was still dangerous in that area, and that's what we want. If we're gonna, I think Klopp hinted that he wants to keep the 4-3-3 or go back to the 4-3-3 because, well, it's what we've built our team on, and that's what the players understand, and we've just not had the effort level, performance level, or people available to play it properly. But if we go back to the 4-3-3, basically, whatever about the midfield, because that will be the issue, defence will be the defence, we can't play Salah as a winger or a wide midfielder winger. We need him as the inside forward doing more Salah things. So that was probably the best thing to see, because every other time we played 4-3-3 this season, he's been stupidly wide. So that might be the most important thing to take away from this game, is we played the old formation with more not holding hands with the assistant referee.
Are you that person who has everything? The coolest merch and those must-have fan threads? Well, over at our Anfield Index shop, we've gone that extra mile when it comes to pimping up your Liverpool collection. From our popular range of bespoke design t-shirts, sweaters, hoodies and hats, to our signature edition mugs, prints and coasters, all provided with fast worldwide shipping. We have something for every red. We also stock official LFC merchandise and are licensed with the Premier League and UEFA to sell official iron-on shirt badges and sleeve patches. As a listener to this podcast, you can get 10% off everything with coupon code AIPRO10. Just head over to AnfieldIndex.shop or find us on Etsy by searching for Anfield Index.
I'm down with that. Guy, who else do you want to talk about in this game, or a key moment from the game?
What did you think of Fabinho? Because I think I've seen a few people split on it. I think Dave said he played quite well. I thought he was all right. I don't think he was really good or bad. And I've seen loads of people like slagging him off. I thought he was all right. I think he still had a bit too much space to cover at times.
Yes, I noticed that. And another thing I kind of noticed about, where the games where he has looked a bit ropey, and he has looked a bit ropey this season, I feel like his tracking back has been very sluggish and slow. Like he's not been where where the danger is. He's like, when you watch him jog, you almost get angry at the fact that his reactions are so slow. As for in this game, I felt like wherever there was danger, he was trying to get into those spaces. I'm not saying he's peak amazing elite Fabinho levels, because he's got some work to do to get there. But what I noticed was where there was danger, and he's also putting in some nasty, horrible challenges as well, which I kind of like to see. You need
Absolutely.
that. Do you know what I mean? So he was functioning as he should be, but not at the level that we know that he can be.
I think if this is your flaw, I think that's an all right point. So if this is starting to become the new flaw, we know how high his ceiling is in his performance. So I think this is the acceptable level. I think. So if he stays like this, I'm all right with that.
I'm all right with it because obviously he still is functioning and, he's not leaving big, gaping, glaring holes. But also, like you've just said there, the fact that he's had so much ground to cover individually is not his fault as well. You can't, he's a human, he's one person. How much ground do you expect him to cover and how many men is he supposed to be, putting in a defensive shift against, when there's no bodies on his side to kind of help him in that shift. So yeah, I'd agree with you, Guy. I think it was a competent performance.
Yeah, almost similarly to Jones, but obviously more defensive sense. Just a nice, steady performance to hopefully. I think we've only got 3 games left, haven't we? So I doubt he'll play against Derby, but
he better not be.
Maybe needs a must. But in them last 2 games, hopefully, this is the worst he gets. So yeah, that'd be nice. And if he does make the Brazil squad, hopefully he doesn't play too much, but hopefully that's out of his system and he can go back to being almost risky Fabinho, because it does feel like everyone's playing tiptoeing till the World Cup happens, isn't it? It's very weird.
Yes, it is very weird. It's very, very strange indeed. Guy, let's talk about something that really, really intrigued me about this game. In the first half, James Milner takes one to the head and he bleeds. And I'm like, oh my God, James Milner bleeds. And then at the beginning of the second half, he goes down injured. He's human. Obviously comes off. I think Elliot comes on. Obviously Klopp makes some changes. Later on, we see some of the kids come on as well, which is quite nice as well. And then, of course, Darwin Núñez comes on. What did you make of the Klopp subs? It was nice to see the kids come out as well, and they're actually playing some nice football between them.
Yeah, it was nice to see them come on. I think Elliot came on obviously a lot earlier than the others.
Yes, he did.
He was. I thought he was quite good when he came on.
Yes.
Linked up play quite well. Didn't get in Moore's way, which I think's kind of been the issue in the early parts of the season. They're kind of on each other's toes, so that's probably best to take away from that.
Maybe they're learning now as well. Maybe that was
yes.
learning on the job, and now they understand. Like there's like a chemistry between them.
Yeah, because Moore is obviously his father as well, because he's always
Yes.
proud when he does something.
Yes.
Basetic, is he still 17? I think he is 17.
It makes me sick, but carry on.
It does. It doesn't make me feel old. When you start seeing lads born in 2000s, you just bad times. No, I think he's really good. Like, he's obviously got to grow a bit physically, but he's bloody 17. He just seems to be very confident on the ball. He wears his socks low, which is obviously mega confidence. But it's just confident on the ball, almost egotistical on the ball at times, because I think the more you see, the more he'll grow into it. And I think obviously I'll have to cover the Derby game for Raw because they don't do cup games. But he's probably the main thing I'm looking forward to in that, because I have no idea who else will play, but I want to see Basetic, and I know Derby's a League One team, but it's a team of men. I want to see
physical,
him.
Isn't it?
Yes,
it's a physical game. Yeah, and that's what he's in for. So let's see how he shapes up against those players. And of course, and if like you said, he's only 17. He's got a lot of growing to do. But if this is the future, because we've touched on this, we don't really buy midfielders, then he needs to kind of grow, and we need to kind of see more of him. Let's talk about the goals now, because we had to wait. I'm not gonna lie, when they scored their goal, and obviously it got checked. Can we talk about that? How long did that take? By the way, we're recording this on Thursday. We played on Tuesday. Doesn't this game seem an age away? Be honest, Guy.
I feel like that VAR check was still going on.
Yes. Oh my God, it was clear as day that he was off, but okay.
It was just strange, because you literally saw even Steve McManaman went, no, he's off. It's like, God. But no, he was clearly off. Like, his head and part of his shoulder was just clearly offside. I was like, are you seeing if someone else touched the ball or something? It was just very strange. But they got it right, and we're used to Premier League refs, so if you get it right, I can accept the wait. Obviously, it's different if you're in the stadium, because you'll be a bit more annoyed and it's freezing at the minute. So, but yeah, you see Michael Oliver and all that getting it wrong every week. I don't mind waiting 200 years for a decision as long as it's right. But it was very strange. But do you like the automated offside thing?
Oh, the graphic.
Yeah.
I love it.
Mm.
It's better than those
clear.
stupid, wonky lines that the Premier League tend to serve us, and they
Yeah.
don't even make any sense. They're like, it's just, yeah, I love the graphic. I'm a big fan. Big thumbs up from me. I'm guessing you like it as well.
Oh yeah, it actually shows why he's offside rather than
Yeah.
just going, well, this is a line on a 2D camera that you need a special camera to actually see if it works. Like, cool. Let's have Martin Tyler, the 800-year-old man, explain it to us. But yeah, that's a different gripe.
And then, of course, you touched on Liverpool's goals. I'll be honest with you, when they were checking it, and I was like, because I'm so used to and conditioned to Premier League refs, that I was like, watch them cock this up. And if this goal stands, then I want all the players off. Like, we're not coming back from this. Do you know what I mean? Like, just rest them, save them for Spurs. But of course, the right call was made. Liverpool's goals, I had to wait a fair bit. Mo Salah, quite a scrappy goal, but we'll take it. Just bumbles it over the line. And then Darwin Núñez, again, we had to wait for that one. You know what my favourite part about that goal was? I can't lie. It was Virgil van Dijk giving him the death stare.
He wanted to
I'm
go.
gonna kill you if you're offside.
To be fair, I think I would have as well, because Van Dijk.
Just out of curiosity, if Virgil van Dijk and Núñez scrap off, who are you betting on?
Oh, Van Dijk.
Yeah.
There's something. It's weird with South Americans. I think there's a bit of fakeness there. I think there's a mix. They're either a bit fake hard man or they are mental. So I'm not sure with Darwin just yet. Whereas Van Dijk is just a big lad, so I think he could handle himself.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. But yeah, 2 goals right at the end. I mean, is there anything guys you kind of want to talk about this game? I mean, anything that you feel needs highlighting?
We mentioned the Milner thing. Was it confirmed a concussion? I haven't seen anything.
I have not seen it, but it looks likely that he won't be playing because of the way he went off.
Yeah.
He doesn't go off like that, does he? Let's be honest. That's one thing that you have to give him credit for. When he went down, I was like, shit. And especially with I think Hendo's out as well now, isn't he? So it's not great in terms of injuries for Liverpool.
We can use Ox or Naby's bingo card for the weekend.
I'm not even being funny. I think he's shipped them off somewhere. Especially Naby. I don't have any hopes about seeing him.
At least he names him in press conferences now, so that's a good start.
He actually acknowledges his existence. Yeah, good stuff. Yep. Okay then, guys. So Liverpool win this game. So what we'll do is I'm going to just quickly run through all the groups and who tops and who's runner-up. So obviously ours, Napoli topped it. We come second. Ajax champions Europa League spot. Group B, Porto top it. Club Brugge second. Leverkusen get Europa League. Atletico Madrid bump out of Europe. Bayern Munich in Group C top it. Inter second. Barca third. Group D. Now this was all drama till the very end. I was watching this, I had my eye on this one whilst I was watching Liverpool. And I'll be honest with you, if I was not covering Liverpool and I didn't have an invested interest in Liverpool, this was the group I'd probably watch. Group D, Spurs top it, Frankfurt second, good for them. Sporting Lisbon, who at one point were at top of the group, whilst everything was happening, and Marseille just crashed out of Europe, period. Group E, Chelsea top it, Milan second, Salzburg Europa League. Group F, Real Madrid top, Leipzig second, Shakhtar Donetsk third, and of course Celtic crash out. Group G, City top, Dortmund second, Sevilla back to their old love, Europa League.
Hello, I'm here to annoy you. I'm here to annoy you into listening to more of me and more of others on EPL Index. We don't just have the Anfield Index stuff. We've got EPL Index as well, which covers the entirety of the Premier League. And we have 3 podcasts and a whole bunch of really good writing on EPLindex.com. The podcasts are my own two-footed podcast, which is every day at 4 p.m., Monday through Friday, covering the whole league. We have A Tad Predictable, hosted by Tadiwa. You know Tadiwa, he does Anfield Index. He presents A Tad Predictable before every Premier League match week, and then Kevin De Vries and his crew on the EPL Roundtable there every week after the Premier League match week. So make sure you listen to everything we're doing on EPL Index and follow us there on Twitter at EPL Index. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Group H. Now, this one was a good one as well. Benfica topped the group. Paris Saint-Germain, despite them beating Juventus, finished second. Juventus seal Europa League football despite losing. I mean, so those are the teams in at the moment. All done and dusted. Anything surprise you? Anything shock you? And also, realistically, Liverpool, because they finished runners-up, they will either face Porto, Bayern, Real Madrid, or Benfica. Am I right?
Yes, I think so. Is it a shock that Benfica beat Maccabi Haifa that well? Quite possibly, because I think Maccabi have been somewhat, especially in Israel, I think they've been quite difficult to beat, unless PSG spanked them, and I can't remember. But for Benfica to top that group when Paris beat Juve, I think that's definitely a shock, because it was weird, because I think it went to 1-1, if I remember. I watched the goal show, and they went 1-1, and then just went, that Roger Schmidt's making two subs in the first half. I was like, okay. But no, it seemed to click very well. I think he took off their main striker, and maybe it just opened the game up a bit more. But yeah, for Benfica to top a group with Paris, PSG, and Juve, albeit it's the corpse of Juventus, very good. Maybe the most shocking thing, Juventus 3 points. I don't care if it is the worst Juventus team of my lifetime, even the Serie B team get in there. But good, 3 points? Really? That's disgusting.
It is really bad. I mean, to be in their defence, they weren't as bad against Paris Saint-Germain, in my opinion, yesterday. Also, good news for them, Chiesa was back as well.
Yes.
He got some minutes. So, good news for Juventus in that front. But yeah, it'd be good for them to get Europa League football, because they were absolutely disgraceful. And you don't kind of expect Juventus to be that way. I think, it's... So far, so all the English teams are through. My memory serves me correctly, 2 Portuguese teams are through.
Yes. All the German teams are through, I think.
Leverkusen
Not
aren't.
Leverkusen.
Yeah, so three German teams, 2 Italian teams, and the shocking thing here is 1 Spanish team has made it. The rest of them all crashed out, but that 1 Spanish team is
going to win.
Pretty relentless.
Yeah, they'll win it. Just get to a final, and we don't play Real Madrid in the final, we might win. Yeah, it's a weird thing with La Liga, because they've dominated both. Not the Conference League, because that's 1 year old and it's dreadful. But they've dominated European football for.
Yes, they have.
Oh God.
Too long.
Yeah, but what was it, like 2014? Madrid started winning it. Even the Pep teams before that, in the very early 2010s. Yeah, it's been an era of dominance from that. I'm not sure if it's over just yet, because let's be honest, Real Madrid are probably the favourites to win it, because they get out the group. It's what they do. But it is strange. I think I was listening to another podcast with a Spanish commentator talking, and they're on about maybe Barcelona's not the concern, because they had a tough group, to be fair, and
they did, yeah.
The a very relatively newly put together team, young coach, but they're going quite well in La Liga. I think they've only conceded a handful of goals all season, so I think there's still promise within Barcelona. It's just financially missing the Champions League is going to be a mess. But you look beyond that, Atleti are done. Sevilla are in the relegation zone, I think, in La Liga at the minute. And then, who else are we there? Sociedad, I had no idea where they're in the league. Athletic Club, Villarreal, Betis. They're not really Champions League teams, are they?
No.
So I think outside of the big 2, or big 2.5, if you count Atletico Madrid, I mean, Barca are rebuilding. Atletico Madrid are at the very end of a cycle, even more of an end of possibly similarly to Juve, but maybe not as bad as Juve. I think it's basically the top two for now until Atleti. But will Atleti go to their heights again? Because I imagine Simeone will be done soon. Will they get a manager as perfectly suited as Simeone again? Probably not. So it might just be back to the big two doing stuff.
Yeah. It might be. And I actually, like you were quite thinking with you there. I think Atleti are the big shock here, given the fact that I'd say, like they should be able to get through that group. Like they weren't given like you said, like Barcelona were given like a tough group, and Juve, it was always touch and go whether they finished second or third in that group.
Yeah.
So I think that was the shock for me. But I mean, it's really hard because we're sat here and we're talking about things. I mean, we're going to get together on Monday to kind of give our thoughts on who Liverpool draw. Is there anybody that you particularly fancy facing? I think everyone's got their eye on the two Portuguese teams. So go on then. Which one would you prefer?
I think the easy answer is Porto because we always beat them. But that scares me because everyone's now talking about how we always beat Porto. So it's written in the stars that they'll then beat us if we draw them.
Well, I have another theory for you. It's very hard to see who's going to win this, right? Because obviously we've got a bit of a stop situation with the Champions League now. So, teams are very, very different in terms of, what, how form will be and stuff. I also think as well, I'm going to make a prediction. Please don't quote me on this, but I feel like, some of like these teams that like, like your Leipzig and, maybe some other teams, I think they might be a big, big threat this year because I feel like the bigger teams are the ones that you expect to perform. They'll have a lot of players going away to the World Cup. And I feel like the quality of Champions League football might be a bit meh. I think we're going to have an overload of impact injuries from overplaying footballers.
Yeah. I did looked at the teams that went through and I was like, it's probably the weakest it's looked in years because let's be honest, we're bad. At the minute, we're a mid-table Premier League team. Chelsea, not great. Milan, third in Serie A. Tottenham have been dreadful recently. I think Frankfurt at the top in the Europa League places, if I remember correctly. Inter, been bad. Bayern, who cares? Porto and Club Brugge? Come on. That's Europa League stuff. Napoli have been good, to be fair. Who else we got? Real Madrid, yeah. I think Leipzig are like mid-table in Bundesliga as well. Dortmund aren't doing well. Benfica and Paris are doing well, to be fair. So you look at it, it's not the strongest. It's obviously a lot of big clubs, but it's a lot of out-of-form clubs as well. Obviously, this might change. I think, is it February the Champions League restarts?
Yes, it is, yes.
Yeah, so it might all change by then, but you look at it at the minute, it's quite a few out-of-form clubs there. So it doesn't look the strongest, and as you say, I mean, we've already seen it. We're obviously going to mention it, but injuries like Heung-min Son, Liverpool have 200 injuries. Man City, obviously, Haaland's out at the minute. I'm not sure who's injured for Real Madrid, but even like Bayern, they've not really got a striker, and it's kind of a new era for them. So it's a weird season. Like you look at it and you think
Choupo-Moting is doing bits for Bayern.
The Stoke legend. You look at it and you really think, outside of maybe Real Madrid and Man City, like, are Napoli the third favourite for the Champions League? That's a weird sentence to say.
It is very, it is really strange given, how everything's kind of shaped up and obviously some of these big teams crashing out as well because, like you said, some of those teams like Bruges and things like that, they, you wouldn't expect them to sort of qualify, right? And here they are representing in the Champions League. I feel like, some of these, the smaller teams are going to be a bit relentless to play against. That's just my wild prediction on it. I could be completely wrong, but I think that, the World Cup is going to have ramifications on the quality of Champions League football. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, definitely will. I think, obviously in England as well, and I think Italy, they've got, two domestic cups as well that'll have to be rushed through once the teams are back. So I think for them two leagues especially, it's going to be a big old mess. So yeah, maybe Real Madrid have the advantage there that they only have one team to face in La Liga, and I don't think they win the Copa del Rey that often as well, so maybe they just bin that off completely. So, yeah, maybe it is advantage Real Madrid.
It probably is, which is very, really boring and predictable. But at the same time, I kind of don't want that season. I mean, it was a fun season of Champions League. I don't know if you remember it, Guy, but when Porto won it, when the likes of like Deportivo La Coruña were beating the likes of Juventus and AC Milan, and you had and Monaco were doing bits with Claudio Ranieri, and they made it to the final. There was a lot of heartbreak in that Champions League. I can't lie, but it was fun, and then the final turned a bit crap. But that's another story for another day. But it was a year of the underdog for sure.
It is. It was a bit before my time because Liverpool's probably the first one I actually remember.
Yeah.
But after the
season after, basically,
Barca,
right? Yeah.
So you've got Barca, us, and AC Milan again. Then it was just like United, and it was that after that it was probably not till Dortmund there was a surprise finalist, was there? So yeah, I'm all for a Club Brugge final. Let's go.
Simon Mignolet producing some worldies, right, Guy?
Oh God, imagine.
You touched on some there. I mean, a big miss for them. Just quickly, whilst we're here, get your thoughts on the Spurs game. How you feeling? Yeah, they do look dreadful. We look dreadful. It would be great if Liverpool could win an away game in the Premier League. It is November. Come on, do you want to wake up now? But yeah, a big injury for them. And obviously, like if you kind of see the goals that they're scoring as well, set pieces and long range shots, losing Son like that as well is a big blow to them. But I'd say a big positive for us because that shit always has a good game against us.
That's true. That is true. So does Harry Kane either has dreadful games against us, or he'll get 3 people sent off and win 4 penalties.
I think Konate needs to be up against him.
Yes, because I feel like he could bully Gomez quite a bit. No, I'm with you there. I think you addressed it in the early bit. Do Liverpool actually see Spurs as a big team?
Yes.
That might be the answer there. We have to be up for it. We can't. To be fair, Spurs have started games dreadfully as well. So maybe it'll just be the worst start to a football game in history. But no, it's strange because Spurs only have one attacker, so I'm guessing it'll be Cade and Lucas Moura in a 2, which sounds dreadful.
Yeah.
But Son missed. I hope he doesn't miss the World Cup because that'd just be sad.
That would be.
Yeah, because albeit South Korea probably not going to win it, but they have had fun history in the past from 2002 onwards. And
you want to see the best players, right? Because obviously we know Kante won't be going. Pogba looks. I don't think Pogba's going now as well. It's you want to see when you're watching the World Cup, you want to see the teams with their best players playing, right? Especially me, I don't have an affiliation with I don't support England, so Chilwell's out for Chelsea. That we'll see about that one. That could be a big blow for England, but it's. Going back to the Spurs thing as well, another thing that I find really intriguing as well is the fact that they had to dig quite deep against Bournemouth over the weekend to get the winner, and they've had to dig quite deep against Marseille, a goal behind. I feel like they'll come into this game quite leggy and lethargic, hopefully.
I think that's been the case for a little while, though, but I think we've seen us do this in the past. Maybe you go to the well once too often, I should say.
Yes.
But the momentum of overcoming does carry you through. I think we saw that maybe last season the most, because the going behind record did start last season, didn't it? So maybe that's one of the reasons why we've started the season so poorly, just going to the well once too often. But Spurs might be fortunate that they've got the World Cup break and that maybe it has a bit of a reset for them. But I say this, it's different doing it against Bournemouth and Marseille. I touch wood, all the wood. If Liverpool turn up, it is different doing it against them 2 teams than it is, I'm doing air quotes for the audio, Liverpool. So, you mentioned it. They score set pieces and they score long range, dramatic goals. I don't remember that. I think Dave said this, I don't remember the last time Liverpool conceded a set piece goal. It just doesn't seem to happen that often to us. I know they've got they've got 100 centre backs and they're all quite big. But as you said, if Konate is playing, bigger than anyone they've got. Van Dijk's bigger than anyone they've got. It's just we shouldn't be at risk from set pieces from them. I think we just got to keep Kane quiet. I think that's it. Just keep him quiet.
Keep him quiet and also try giving away set pieces as well. And the midfield needs to be on their A game to stop long range shots and things, like shut that shit down. That'd be my advice. But yeah, Guy, I think we have covered everything. Thank you as always. Listeners, we will be back on Monday. We'll just give our brief thoughts on the draw and who the Reds face. Do interact with us. Let us know who you'd fancy. What do you feel about the Champions League? Do you feel like it's going to be good quality, bad quality? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Guy, before I let you go, let the listener know where they can find you on social media and also let them know how busy you've been.
Yeah, at Guy Drinkel, tagged in the tweet if you're on there. Too busy. It's the articles rather than the podcast now, because there's a million of them. So
oh gosh, yes, I'm changed to my laptop.
Yeah, it gets weird when I'm sorting the stuff. It's like, I'll put 2 out. Okay, there's 7 on the site. I'll have to put another 3 out. But that's a good thing for you and me, listener, because it keeps me busy and it gives you something to read. So yeah, look at the articles. Stuff I'm on. I don't know why you'd go back and listen to Scouted, but if you really like the sound of mine and Carl's voice, there you go. I assume I'll be on AIP tomorrow, where I produce horrendous film recommendations for people. And by horrendous, I mean brilliant. And obviously the post-match stuff for... When do we play? Is it Sunday?
Sunday, yeah.
Sunday, yeah. Oh, God. World Cup can't come soon enough. But yeah, I think that'll be it from me. I'll be in the background of Raw, unless Trev breaks his telly again.
Do give Guy a follow and do check out the articles. There's so much good diverse content now on there for people who like to read their Liverpool articles. But guys, for my part, again, I will be back on the Nina Kauser show. Hopefully, I'm not miserable and I'm upset and, the Reds actually decide that Spurs are a good team and put in a performance and get the result as well. That would be grand. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed the group stages of this Euro Incision, and we will be back on Monday. Till next time, take care and up the Reds.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.